Hi, my name is James, and just 90 seconds from now, I'm gonna let you in on something every man is secretly obsessed with. It's something he craves, more than love, more than money, even more than sex. And the craziest part is this one secret obsession holds the key to winning a man's love, attention, and total devotion for life. But not one woman in 1,000 even knows it exists. And those that do almost never share it with another soul. But after 12 years of working with thousands of amazing women as a relationship coach, I've witnessed this secret male obsession to be the key to a man's heart. Because once you understand it, you'll be able to make the man of your choice feel a burning desire for you that's so powerful that you'll literally become the most important person in his life, the person he thinks about all day long. And you'll also hear the real-life stories of women who use this same secret obsession to create the deepest love of their lives, all from seemingly hopeless situations, and how you too can create the love you deserve. Because no matter how bad your situation seems right now, even if you're worried your man is losing interest after getting intimate with him too soon, even if you've given up hope that your man will ever commit to you, and even if he's been completely ignoring your calls and texts, it doesn't matter. Because the moment you flip this secret trigger in a man's heart, a trigger so secret that 99% of women and men don't even know it exists, he'll feel a surge of desire for you that goes far beyond physical attraction and makes him see you in a whole new light. Without even realizing it, he'll start to picture you in his life, and every other woman, past and present, will fade from his mind. Because when you tap into a man's most primal, inner desire, you literally become his obsession. And even though he's starting to feel the deepest love connection of his life, he won't know why, because this secret flies completely under his radar. So by now, you're probably wondering what this secret obsession is, right? Well, to put it simply, it's a recently discovered primal drive that all men are powerfully influenced by without even knowing it. Every man you know agonizes over this primal drive more than anything else, even his sex drive. In fact, this drive is so hardwired into a man's mind that it subconsciously controls everything he does, from the time he wakes up to the moment his head hits the pillow at night. It's something I've come to call the hero instinct, and I now believe it's the biggest secret to becoming a man's deepest passion and priority in life. In fact, it doesn't matter how in love or infatuated a man is. If the woman he's with doesn't bring out his hero instinct, he'll always feel like something important is missing, and he'll eventually seek out a woman who knows this secret. On the other hand, when you know how to trigger a man's hero instinct, his heart will be yours and yours alone, and he'll go to the ends of the earth to make you happy. How can this be possible? It's because the hero instinct is a biological drive, just like hunger, thirst, and sex. But once this drive is triggered, it becomes more powerful than all three combined, which makes it virtually impossible for him to ignore. And in a few minutes, you'll see how you can use a secret signal I discovered to flip on a man's hero instinct without him even noticing. And I should warn you, when you use this secret signal on a man for the first time, get ready. Because he'll suddenly find everything about you to be more alluring and enticing than any other woman on his radar. But first, the best way for you to understand how you can use the hero instinct is to see how it worked for a real woman. I'd like you to meet my friend Rachel. She's one of my favorite clients. If you met her, I bet you'd be fast friends from the start, because that's how she is with everyone. But for some strange reason, she always had the worst luck in her search for love. One night, I got a call just as I was closing up the office to head home. It was Rachel, and I recognized it right away. The catch in her throat, the hurt in her voice. I rushed to meet her at the Starbucks around the corner from my office. From the running eyeliner and the red, puffy eyes, it was obvious it was really bad this time. She told me about Mike. 3 months ago, she was smitten and in love. They'd met at her best friend's wedding and instantly hit it off. He did everything right. He surprised her with lunch at work, he called literally every night, and he planned out fun and romantic dates. And Rachel felt like she had finally found the love that she had wanted so badly for so long. That was until 3 months later, when something happened that every woman dreads. Rachel first noticed the signs in Mike's voice. He was suddenly so quiet and distant, and Rachel didn't know why or what she had done wrong. Before, they were almost inseparable. You could practically feel the sparks fly between them. But now, the surprise drop-ins had disappeared. He no longer called at the end of the night, and anytime she texted him, he would respond hours later with short, one-word replies. Rachel kept calm and played it cool, but after 2 days of gut-wrenching silence, Rachel reached a boiling point. And even though she'd never meant to come off as needy, she left 8 missed calls on Mike's cell phone that night, and countless texts, which she could see he had read, but chosen to ignore. She went to sleep crying that night. It wasn't until the following afternoon that Mike finally responded. She almost let it go to voicemail, but changed her mind and picked it up at the last second. Rachel wanted to scream, but before she had a chance, Mike apologized and told her he had had a lot on his plate at work. He assured her everything was fine and suggested dinner the following night at their favorite restaurant. Then he promised he would call her the next day to nail down a time. Rachel had no idea Mike was only telling her what she wanted to hear. As Rachel hung up the phone, she felt like she could finally breathe again, and that night she slept like a baby for the first time in days. The next day, she even came home early from work to fix her hair and put on Mike's favorite dress. Then she waited for his call. Of course, Mike's call never came, and no matter how many times she texted him, he never responded. Mike had broken off the relationship. He disappeared from her life without a reason or a goodbye. And the worst part was, she felt too embarrassed to even call her friends for support. She didn't understand how something so perfect could shatter so quickly. I hadn't touched my coffee. I rubbed my eyes, cleared my throat, and asked if I could see her cell phone. I wanted to see how bad things actually were. My heart sank as I scrolled through pages of unanswered texts. But then, something caught my attention. It was the last text Mike had sent to Rachel before he pulled away. There was one phrase in it that jumped out at me. It was almost like a hidden plea for help. And that's when it hit me. On a hunch, we ran back to my office and dug through my notes from previous clients. Sure enough, buried in one of those notes was that same core phrase from Mike's text message. As I sifted through more of these notes, variations of the same phrase popped up again and again. I realized I had stumbled upon a pattern, and it struck me that this pattern was connected to a deep-seated obsession in every man's mind. That's when everything clicked. I suddenly knew exactly what Rachel had to do. It was a long shot, but I explained my idea to her. I told her that since Mike wasn't answering his phone, she needed to trigger his secret obsession, or what I now call the hero instinct, with a signal that would immediately get his attention. Even something like a text message or a Facebook message would work. So I gave Rachel a simple 12-word text that she could send to Mike, and even though I didn't realize it at the time, I had just created the very first secret signal, because hidden in those 12 innocent words was a subtle trigger phrase that was about to change everything. Rachel was skeptical at first, but as she read the words out loud, her eyes lit up and I knew it clicked for her. So she crossed her fingers and hit send. Rachel was shocked when that very night, Mike showed up at her apartment door. It was his shaky voice that gripped her instantly and made her listen more intently to the words he spoke next. I've realized I won't be happy without you in my life. He never seemed more sure of anything. She immediately felt the relationship had changed, and it had. She began to see glimpses of a deeper side of Mike. He was so much warmer and more open, and he seemed healthier and happier too. Before long, they were deeply in love again. And to think, it all started with that one secret signal in Rachel's 12-word text message. Now, if you're going through something like Rachel was, I want you to know it's not your fault. It's not something you did or didn't do, because a man's heart will always be elusive until you understand what drives him on a primal, instinctive level, and how the subtle things you say and do deeply affect him. And that all comes down to understanding his hero instinct. And by now, you're probably wondering, what exactly is the hero instinct, right? Well, on the surface, it's a deep, biological drive inside every man to feel needed. In other words, men are secretly obsessed with feeling irreplaceable, like they're the only man for the job. But it's so much deeper than that. You see, men are so powerfully drawn to anything that makes them feel this way that it's the driving force behind their every thought and action without them even knowing it. To some extent, a man might get this hidden need met from his job, hobbies, or friends, but nothing in the world can satisfy that need like a woman who knows this secret. Now, pay close attention, because this is the most important part of this presentation. You see, awakening a man's hero instinct is the surest way to make him fall in love with you. In fact, there's nothing more stunningly attractive to a man, because it makes you his primary obsession in life. And here's the secret to how that works. You become a man's obsession not by meeting his needs, but by revealing your own. In other words, it's not about trying to please him, it's about giving him a way to please you, which allows him to feel like he's actively winning you over. And here's why that's so critical. It's nearly impossible for a man to feel like he's in love if he doesn't feel like he's earning that love. When you do that, your relationship feels real to him for the first time. He feels like he's falling in love with you over and over again. All of his past relationships seem like a dim shadow to the passionate, urgent love he now feels for you. And it's because you've given him his first taste of real love. And when you do this, watch how his desire for you suddenly soars. Feel how he cherishes you, loves you, and understands you in a way he never could have before. Because now, he's truly at his best with you, and he'll be grateful every day that he found you. That's what happened when Rachel sent that text to Mike. That simple hidden phrase completely changed the way he saw her in his life. And it was also a real eye-opener for me. In fact, I was so shocked at the power of that one secret signal that I became obsessed with finding more of them. I realized they needed to work over the phone, in person, and through text. They also had to be simple and easy to use without having to spend months studying the deep psychology behind them. But most importantly, they had to increase a man's attraction and devotion in ways that feel completely natural. So I locked myself in my office and searched through my notes, courses, and transcripts from years' worth of coaching sessions. And at first, it was slow going. But then I noticed something strange. Every time one of these women found the love and romance they were searching for, I could trace it back to a single moment. A moment when they had somehow signaled their man and awoken a part of his mind that told him, "This is exactly what I want. There's something special about this woman." Sometimes it was a simple phrase, a thoughtful gesture, or even a short message like in Rachel's case. But they all had one thing in common. They seemed to trigger a strong emotional reaction in their man, awakening his hero instinct and making him instinctively notice her with new eyes. And that was always the turning point. Every time I discovered one of these signals, I wrote it down in this little black notebook I carry with me everywhere. And I called them secret signals because of the incredible ability they have to capture a man's undivided attention, sparking deep feelings of love without him even knowing why. Then not long ago, I started sharing them with a small handful of women I was coaching at the time. I told them Rachel's story and taught them how to use the secret signals for themselves. And each time I did, I was stunned to hear how well they worked. Each woman instantly went from getting the cold shoulder from her man to receiving the thoughtful gestures, long conversations, and loving intimacy she'd always craved. The more women I showed this to, the more I realized how empowering these signals were and how many lives they could change. And I knew right then that I had to do everything in my power to get them out to the world and to the women who needed them most. For the past few months, I've taught these signals to women going through as many different relationship situations as you can imagine, whether it was emotionally unavailable boyfriends, bored and distant husbands, or even exes that wouldn't give them the time of day. The real-life success stories I've heard back are nothing short of astonishing. Women who had all but given up on finding real love now had men going overboard to make them feel special, cherished, and truly loved. And now, based on their amazing feedback, I've refined and perfected every secret signal, added step-by-step instructions for each one, and included tips, training, and examples I've developed along the way, and created a complete program called His Secret Obsession: How to Awaken a Man's Most Secret and Powerful Desire to Earn Your Love, Prove His Devotion to You, and Give You Romance that Lasts a Lifetime. It's the first and only step-by-step program that allows you to skip all the games, frustration, and heartache and connect directly to a man's heart in a way that captures his love and attention forever. Inside, I reveal the most powerful words, phrases, and signals that I've discovered and show you exactly how to use them in your own authentic way to spark the romance you crave as soon as tonight. After learning and practicing these signals, you'll notice an immediate difference in how men react to you. You'll have the effortless ability to attract men and create an amazing connection almost instantly. Any doubt you have about how men feel about you will fade into the background when you see the unmistakable signs of desire, how they hang on every word you say, how they only have eyes for you, and how they can't wait to see you again. This program is dramatically different from anything you may have tried before because it's customizable for your exact situation no matter how unique it is. So if you just want that incredible spark of chemistry, that warm flutter of connection on a daily basis again, or if you're starting to date again after 30 years and want to skip straight to the fireworks, or even if you've never had a man who you felt truly loved you and want to finally experience what it's like, His Secret Obsession will show you exactly what to do to make it a reality.